This is Hot Mic.
Hot Mic.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
I think just like Dom's outfit, they're not always pretty. Sometimes they're really ugly. But
Just been all over Amazon and just about every site looking for these mustard pants. And,
my wife will tell you she
um,
wants to burn mine.
People actually listen to your show.
They watch.
They
Yeah, I
watch
told
it.
you, yeah.
play defense in that first half like Dom transitions to you after the game. It's way too long, way too lazy, but
You got all these answers. I'm going to bring you over and have you do our non-conference schedule.
I'd love to. I'd love to go to Grand Canyon,
I would
man.
love.
Hey,
well,
you're
you
doing
can
that
come with.
game.
That's not the thing.
I love when you're on Dom. You're so transparent. And I'm like, so two things are happening. That one, people are watching your show,
Yes,
listening.
yes.
Right? That
Yep.
caught me a little off guard. I'm just being honest.
As it is Wednesday at that time, you got a special guest with you. We can talk to him, not you.
I know everybody would prefer that. I do probably need to remind him that we are live, so he can't say the normal things that he says.
Oh,
to me
I was gonna.
about
Well, I'd love that conversation. Yeah, that'd be
how
great.
bad a coach I am, and all those things that he usually tells me. Yeah.
Congratulations on the award, man. Good stuff. So,
Congratulations on the award.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
all right, let's chat some hoops here. What do we got? You got South Dakota coming up. It's round 3.
I love how rattled you are.
I'm not
Like,
rattled. I'm asking
You're
a
rattled.
question.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
not
threw
rattled.
just a complete wrench. You had no idea that I would do this, and like I hear the
Hey.
ahs coming, and
Hey, believe me, if I was rattled, you'd know it. I'd be sweating bullets here. I'm all right. I've had it before. We can talk.
great.
We can talk
This
to
is-
Javis. That's fine. You can go, man.
no, this is my favorite part of my job because
I bet it is.
I always tell the guys, like, I have this open door policy.
Yep.
My broad shoulders, my voice, and me having to tell the guys the truth that they normally don't want to hear. Nobody ever comes in, except for this one right here.
Right now.
Yeah. No. He comes in all the time, and then he sets his food down usually and leaves a mess behind,
He's lying.
and all the things. But the gray hairs that I get, some of it is from this one right here. But I wouldn't change anything.
Well,
I love the kid.
let me ask you, and Javis, you could jump in too about how your role changed this year. Tell me the conversations, Dave. You can start on how this played out, and then finding this was the role that best suited your team for this season.
No, I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna let him start.
Okay.
And see if I agree or disagree. So we'll see. Go ahead, Javis.
He said about my role. How's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It changed to more like a leadership role this year, I'd say. Like being able to help other guys. That's like the main thing I would say.
Yeah, I mean, he's done an exceptional job, and I think too, it's embracing, like, there is especially in an 18 to 23-year-old's world, right? It's so much about the splash, right, and having your name called in the starting lineups and those things. And there's no question about it. For a little plus 2 years, Javis and I have battled about some things, and something where, me, I'm not going to let my guard down, but also then too of me learning to understand Javis. I think that's part of it, right? In some of his great strengths and some of his weaknesses, and trying to blend those into things. And I'm going to spill the beans, and Javis, he's gonna listen, but we had the guys fill out some things, and I think there was a real kind of breakthrough moment that we had in the Samford tournament where it just didn't, Javis is too talented of a basketball player, too exceptional of a person not to understand the impact that he can or was having on the team in a positive or negative way. And, I stuck my, heels in the ground on some things. And the Samford tournament, he didn't play as much. In the West Georgia game, he didn't play at all, but he kept the spirit about him. He was a great leader. And going into that Utah Valley game, we put him in, and he excelled. And then part of me learning and embracing was he was just killing. He was doing great. And he made a mistake. And I was about ready to have a Dave Richman moment of just attack, right? And I just breathed for a second. I responded instead of reacted. And the very next possession, he does something good a little bit. And I think that's been very good for our relationship, where he understood I'm not going to compromise some things, but I understood that, Javis's best version is letting him play through some things at times. And I could not be prouder of a young man. Certainly the accomplishments and the rewards of the sixth man of the year are great, but you don't get to see what I get to see, and how he's matured in so many ways, shapes, and forms.
That's the fourth different sixth man of the year you've won. As Mike Felt did it, Dex did it twice, Grant did it a few years ago. What is it about? Is that more random than I think, or is that attributed to what you've done as a basketball program in your mind?
Oh, our program certainly deserves a little of the credit, but I think it's a credit to the guys. The guys have to be able to embrace those things, and from the stars that came behind Javis's name when we recruited him, this is a very talented young man.
Yep.
But there's also some great luxuries that we have with Javis coming off the bench, in meaning like he literally his freshman year he played some point. You saw him at times against South Dakota State, battle of five. He's played every position. And it's a great luxury to have, especially coming off the bench based on maybe foul trouble or time score situations. And at times when I've checked him in, I will just say offense, defense, and now he knows what that means. Like if we're going to be on offense when he goes in, he's going to get this guy. If we're going to go on defense, he's going to get this guy. And it's just a tremendous impact that he's having.
Javis, tell me about the conversation about coming off the bench and how receptive you were to it and how much you've adjusted to it now.
I didn't have a problem with it. I completely understood where he was coming from, like the versatility off the bench and the different ways I could help the team coming off the bench. I completely understood it. So it really wasn't much adjusting. I didn't really have a problem with it or anything.
You're in it. I got to ask, just Dave mentioned it, the allure of hearing your name called as a starter. Is that a bigger thing than maybe I realize for the guys that are in it? Or is this, whatever my role is, I'm coming in and playing starter minutes anyway?
Mm-hmm. I get the same joy out of hearing my name called as hyping the other guys up that are getting their names called. So, yeah.
I think the maturity and what I really realized is Javis is really a free spirit, right? And I love some of those things. Some of those things drive me nuts, but Javis cares immensely. Javis is a kindred spirit. He cares, about the people that invest in him and that are around him every single day. There's no question. If I'm going into a back alley and we might not be playing a basketball game, this young man right here is the first guy I'm grabbing, right? And we're gonna figure out a way to come out, and that's what I love about him.
Let's get to the heart of the matter here. Can I ask I'll ask Javis if Jackson's going to play. You're not going to tell me anything. Can I ask him?
Well, you can ask him, but I'm going to answer for him, right? And he knows those questions, all the things, right? I think just like you, Dom, one of our media partners and everything, you're going to have to find out and wait to see who's on the court at 6 p.m. Friday night. How
much have you had to just kind of maybe go by the seat of your pants on this kind of a little bit where it's fluid? I know we were talking yesterday that just this it's an uncomfortable situation. I know you talked to me all about that, about trying to be in uncomfortable spot. I don't know if this is the spot you want to be in right now before the tournament begins.
Well, I'm not going to give you a faith lesson, Dom, but I'm as I grow more and more in my age, I'm also growing deeper in my faith, and we can't pick and choose when we choose God or trust God, right? And these moments of uncomfort are challenging. They're adversity, but that's life. I promise you this: Eric Peterson and South Dakota, no matter who we put on the floor, they're not going to feel sorry for us. And I did, though. It's interesting. You talk about the fluidity of things. I called Josh Jones last night and I said, this reminds me of COVID, and just meaning I'm getting calls and conversations with. And she's the biggest sweetheart in the world. And she's great at her job. But Alexis, our trainer, I'm spending way too much time with her right now. And, with a myriad of different guys. And again, I think what this group has really embraced, and it's certainly, you saw not the prettiest version of Bison basketball a little bit as we were getting our feet wet a little bit Wednesday night. And, as we're working through some different situations in practice. But when we get inside the lines, I'm a coach who's ever out there. And I think Javis understands that. He's done a tremendous job helping some other guys in new roles, embrace some things. I promise you this, we will not make excuses.
Javis, I have to ask on the matchup with South Dakota. What is it about this team that's different, and how they press, and what have you found that's really comfortable about matching up with a team like this that you're going to play on Friday night?
Their press is a little difficult, but you got to slow down make the right pass. And it's really easy to break. Just playing them, they like to play small and stuff. So that's really what we do sometimes. So it really like fits in the way we play sometimes.
When you saw how the offense was going to go this year and the amount of threes going to be shot, how much of a shock? You've been this program now for 3 years that this is the way you guys were going to run offensively. How much of a culture shock was that for you about this is how we're going to play this year, basically?
Well, it was completely different. We're so used to playing through the post, get the ball down low, play like that. But it was completely different, but got used to it and kind of like it a little bit better.
Is it nice to know now if you take a three, Dave's not going to yank you right out of the game now?
Oh, it's great to know it. Love to hear it.
That quick hook is gone now, right?
He has no problem being honest right now, right? It's all trapped on media stuff too. It's not just him and I.
How much have you had to adjust to that though, knowing hey, that's not a great shot or that's not the shot we're looking for. You're going to come out of the game. How much have you adjusted for that this year?
Yeah, it's funny you bring all those things up, and I saw something about like the worst words in the English language are this is how we've always done things, or this is what we've always done, and I've really tried to, as a leader, I think one of the bigger qualities that you can present to the people around you, whether it's one of your players or your staff, is that you got an ear, you got two ears and one mouth, and how do I say it? Like, well, this sounds really egotistical, but proud of myself a little bit. I've embraced a lot of things where I've done a lot of listening, and I think that listening has been impactful to helping our program. There are still some foundational things that, from tough, together, love, wisdom, endurance, that I refuse to compromise. The character and integrity of the people within our family and our locker room, I'm not going to compromise that. But there's certainly been an adjustment. And if I'm being honest with myself, it's been fun. It really has. And has it been different? Has it made me uncomfortable? Absolutely. But if I'm going to listen to myself and not be a hypocrite and ask these guys to get uncomfortable, then I need to be able to get uncomfortable as well.
Javis, tell me about the Summer League tournament. You obviously had a great moment down there a couple years ago against this team you're playing. As a freshman, what was that like to get that kind of introduction in a Summit League tournament game, to have that kind of pressure and perform the way you did?
It felt great. Just being able to be out there, make a big play, hearing the crowd cheer, it felt really good.
Two big plays.
Yeah, the block and the layup late in the game.
I really thought he was the best player on the floor in that second half.
Yep.
He made a big, bunch of big time winning plays. He made the take, to put us up, and then the block at the end, and that's that next step for him is bringing that lunch pail all the time.
Javis, for the guys that haven't gone there before and played, do you give them any advice? Do you tell them what to expect about what Sioux Falls is like since they haven't been down there before?
Well, I just tell them, just go out there and hoop, do what they do.
Is that as simple as that? And even knowing the crowd, the crowd, Dave, we were talking about this yesterday too.
Yeah, it does sound really simple and really direct, Dom, but that's it, and you try to, we coach our guys hard with inside the lines in a practice, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to play basketball, and you're not playing for the fans. You're not playing for the opponent. You're playing for the brothers, within it. And different guys throughout this thing, I get it. It's different. I can't be completely naive to this thing. The first time you walk out there, it feels like this. But as soon as you can get it back to exactly what Javis said, you're gonna hoop, you're gonna do something you've done your entire life. I think that's a big part of our successes. We haven't tried to make it bigger than it is.
Javis, playing this team you just played just a week ago, is that a thing? Is that an advantage, disadvantage, or it doesn't really matter?
I say it really matters. At the end of the day, they're still the same team. Still got to go out there, try and beat them.
That sounds just like you, by the way. So you're doing it something.
He's been around me too long, maybe. All the things I wore off on him. Maybe me and embracing some of the threes has wore off on me a little bit. We do listen to music now. It's not always my taste of music, but
What music are you listening to now? I want to know what's going on. What are you playing?
We listen to a lot of hip hop, a lot of rap. We don't listen to enough '90s hip hop, Snoop, the Dre, the real hip hop.
Yeah.
All the things.
Here we go. Yeah.
But It's good. Between my 17 to 13-year-old daughters at home and the luxury that I get to spend with these guys, it keeps me young.
Dave, what is the more media cliche of you can't beat a team 3 times or road environment and playing against the crowd? Which one is the bigger cliche in your mind?
I don't care. Let's go play basketball. I can promise you this. South Dakota's going to put no more than 5 guys on the floor at once. We're going to, put 5 guys on the floor. And still working through who those 5 guys might be a little bit. But that's all right. Let's go. Let's throw this thing up. And I promise you this. We've over the course of X amount of years, we've created a culture of tough together. And we're going to throw out a product that is very tough and very together on Friday night and let the chips fall where they fall.
Javis, last thing for you before we wrap here. Chase Forte, number 9 for them. How much of a dude is he, and what kind of trouble is he trying to stop him getting to the basket?
That's pretty hard. He's a shifty guard. You got to stay in front of him, keep a little distance between you, and should be all right.
Tell me, I know you and I were visiting Dave yesterday about. I know how much you like him as a player. He's trouble, man. He likes to get to the basket and create.
Yeah, I appreciate competitors, right? Yeah. And Chase Forte is a competitor. He's a guy that is finds a way, and I believe he was on the all defensive team. Yeah. He's a dog on the ball. I mean, he's relentless at getting down the hill. As much as we talk about the 3, I also think that the best shot in basketball is still the free throw. And that young man shoots a ton of them, just with his relentless mentality to get to the rim. And they've battled through some things with some big kids being injured. Caleb Stewart's been kind of in and out, but Chase Forte has kept them. And that's not to take it anyway. Isaac and Paul Bruns have had great seasons, but Chase Forte has been a dog and a competitor, and as an opposing coach, you really appreciate those things.
All right, don't give me the ultimate coach's answer on this. What's it going to take to win 3 games in 3 days, Dave? What do you need to see?
Honestly, Dom, I'm not worried about that, and I am going to give you the coach. I'm worried about not worried. I'm focused and present on our practice plan today and tomorrow. If we're in a position to on Friday night at 8:15, and we've been fortunate to beat South Dakota, then we'll worry about the next one. And that's really been our mindset. We've talked about it. It's 120 minutes, 40 at a time, and we need to be able to be present, be locked in, be tough, be together for those first 40 minutes. Everything else then will take care of itself.
This was fun. I'm glad you did this. Thanks for stopping by, man. That was great.
I promise this was spontaneous to me too. He was just around. I said, "You got 20 minutes? Sit down. Let's show the world. Bring the world into Dom's world into my world."
That's awesome, bud. I'll see you guys down there. Safe travels and good luck on Friday night. Okay.
We appreciate it. Safe travels to you.
There he goes, Dave Richman. And to Javis Miller, the 6th man of the year in the Summit League, getting us a few minutes here on this Wednesday. That's good stuff. We appreciate the time there. Again, North Dakota State will take on South Dakota. That is the first game on Friday. The bracket looks as such, as we mentioned. They're the 4-5 matchup. The winner of that, will play the winner of the Omaha game. Omaha's the 1. And we'll match up either against the 8-9 seed there, which we'll find out tonight between Oral Roberts and Kansas City. Whoever's that gets Omaha. That game is tomorrow night. St. Thomas, the 2, plays tomorrow night as well. They'll play about 8:30 against Denver. Keep an eye on Denver. Denver's playing pretty well. They just routed the Jacks. Sebastian Aikens is a really good player. He lit up the Bison when they played here a couple weeks ago. And then the night game Friday, UND and South Dakota State, is the 3-6 game at 8:30. So, again, imagine I'm just fascinated to see what this is going to be like when we get to Sioux Falls on Friday, that the Bison-South Dakota game is the early one. And I know the Jackrabbit fans will get there early. They're not going to cheer for NDSU, and I know they're not going to cheer for USD. So I'm not sure if they're just going to be silent for the entire game before they hit the floor for the finale on Friday. That is the tournament lineup, and it all begins later tonight with that first round game between KC and Oral Roberts. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for a busy Sports Wednesday. Also, Bison Media Zone coming in about 15 minutes' time. Back on Hot Mic on this Wednesday morning, right after this.